This secret is encapsulated in 5 powerful words. Be silent anything that you watch them happen. Now you might be wondering, what does it mean to be silent? And how can silence possibly bring about the manifestation of our deepest desires? My dear friends, the silence I speak of is not merely the absence of sound, but a state of being, a profound inner quietude that allows the creative power within you to work its magic. In this silence you will find the birthplace of all creation. It is the womb of the universe, the void from which all things emerge. When you learn to cultivate this silence, to nurture it within yourself, you tap into the very source of all that is, was, and ever will be. But let me be clear, this is not a passive silence. It is not a state of inaction or resignation, nor the silence I speak of as alive, vibrant, and pulsing with creative energy. It is a silence filled with the certainty of your desire fulfilled. A silence pregnant with possibility. Imagine, if you will, a seed planted in the earth. Does it make a sound as it grows? Does it announce its intentions to the world? No. It grows in silence, pushing through in the soil, reaching for the sun, all without a whisper. And yet in that silence a miracle unfolds. From a tiny seed emerges a mighty oak, a beautiful flower, or a bountiful fruit tree. Your desires, my friends, are like that seed. They do not need to be shouted from the rooftops or constantly verbalized. In fact, the more you speak of them, the more you rob them their power. Instead, plant them in the fertile soil of your imagination, water them with the certainty of their fulfillment, and then be silent. Allow them to grow in the secret, sacred space of your inner world. This silence is not about suppressing your desires or denying their existence. On the contrary, it's about giving them the space and energy they need to manifest. When you constantly speak about what you want, when you continually focus on the lack of it in your life, you're essentially telling the universe, this is what I don't have. And the universe in its infinite wisdom continues to reflect that lack back to you. But when you plant your desire in silence, when you nurture it in the quiet certainty of its fulfillment, you're sending a different message. You're saying to the universe, this is already mine, it is done. And the universe has no choice but to conform to this new reality you've created within yourself. Let me share with you a story that illustrates this principle. There was once a man who desperately wanted a promotion at work. He talked about it constantly, telling anyone who'd listened about how much he deserved it, how hard he had worked, and how unfair it was that he hadn't received it yet. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and still the promotion eluded him. Then one day he heard these very words we're discussing today. He decided to try a different approach. He stopped talking about the promotion altogether. Instead, he went into the silence of his imagination. There he saw himself sitting in the new office, felt the pride and satisfaction of his new position, heard the congratulations of his colleagues. He lived from the end, experiencing the fulfillment of his desire as a present fact. In his outer world, he continued to work diligently, but he no longer spoke of the promotion. He no longer complained about not having it. He simply knew in the depths of his being that it was already his. And do you know what happened? Within a month, he was called into his boss's office and offered the very position he had been imagining. This, my friends, is the power of silence. It is the power of living from the end, of experiencing your desire fulfilled in the inner world of imagination. For when you do this, when you truly embody the feeling of your wish fulfilled, the outer world has no choice but to reshape itself to match your interiors. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Wayne, isn't this just positive thinking? Isn't this just another version of the power of positive thought? And to that I say emphatically, no. This is not mere positive thinking. This is not about trying to consult that something good might happen. This is about knowing with absolute certainty that what you desire is already yours. You see, in the realm of imagination there is no future. There is only the eternal now. When you enter into the silence of your imagination and experience your desire as fulfilled, you are not hoping for a future event. You are experiencing a present reality, and it is this present experience, this living from the end, that has the power to reshape your world. Let me explain further. The world you see around you, the circumstances of your life, are nothing more than the outpicturing of your estates. Your consciousness is the only reality. Everything else, your job, your relationships, your financial situation, these are all shadows, reflections of what you hold to be true in your imagination. So, when you enter into the silence and live from the end, experiencing your desire as fulfilled, you are quite literally changing your world from the inside out. You are impressing upon the subconscious mind a new concept of self, a new pattern of thinking and being. And your subconscious mind, which knows no difference between what is vividly imagined and what is actually experienced in the outer world, begins to work tirelessly to bring about the conditions that match this new self-concept. This, my dear friends, is why silence is so powerful. In silence, you are free from the limitations of your current circumstances. In silence, you are free from the doubts and fears that may plague your waking mind. In silence, you are free to be, to experience, to live as the person who has already achieved their heart's desire. But let me be clear, this silence, this living from the end, is not a one-time event. It's not something you do once and then sit back and wait for results. No. It is a state of being that you must return to again and again until it becomes your natural way of existing in the world. Think of it like this. If you were to plant a seed and then immediately after see if it had grown, what would happen? The seed would never have the chance to take root, to sprout, to grow into the magnificent plant it was meant to be. In the same way, if you enter into the silence, experience your desires fulfilled, and then immediately return to your old patterns of thinking and speaking, constantly checking to see if your desire has manifested, you rob it of the very energy it needs to come into being. Instead, you must trust in the process. You must have faith in the power of your imagination. You must know with every fiber of your being that what you have experienced in the silence of your imagination is more real, more true, than anything you can see or touch in the outer world. This brings us to another crucial aspect of being silent, letting go. Once you have planted the seed of your desire in the fertile soil of your imagination, once you have lived from the end and experienced it as fulfilled, you must let it go. Release it into the hands of the universe, trusting that the same power that turns an acorn into an oak tree, that turns a caterpillar into a butterfly, will bring your desire into manifestation. This letting go is not about forgetting your desire or no longer wanting it. It's about releasing the anxiety, the doubt, the need to control how and when it will come about. It's about surrendering to the wisdom of the universe, of knowing that it has infinite ways of bringing about what you desire, ways that your limited human mind could never conceive of. Remember, the universe is not constrained by what you consider possible or probable. It operates according to laws that transcend human understanding. Your job is not to figure out how your desire will manifest. Your job is simply to live from the end, to be the person who already has what they desire, and to trust in the perfect unfolding of divine timing. Now, some of you might be wondering, but Wayne, what if I have multiple desires? What if there are many things I want to manifest in my life? And to that I say, wonderful. The creative power within you is limitless. It is not constrained by time or space or the number of desires you hold in your heart. However, I would caution you against trying to focus on too many things at once. Remember, the power lies in your ability to live from the end, to fully embody the feeling of your desire fulfilled. This becomes more challenging when you're juggling multiple desires. Instead, I suggest you focus on one primary desire at a time. Choose the one that, if fulfilled, would have the greatest positive impact on your life. Then enter into the silence and live from the end of that desire fulfilled. As you do this, you may find that many of your other desires naturally fall into place. For when you change your concept of self at a fundamental level, every aspect of your life begins to shift to align with this new self concept. Let's delve deeper into this concept of living from the end. What does it really mean to live although your desire is already fulfilled? It means assuming the feeling, the state of consciousness of the person who already has what you desire. If your desire is for financial abundance, then in the silence of your imagination, feel the peace and security that comes with having more than enough. Feel the joy of being able to buy what you want when you want. Feel the satisfaction of being able to help others, to give generously. Embody these feelings so completely that when you open your eyes and return to your silence, if your desire is for a loving relationship, then in your imagination, feel the warmth of your partner's embrace. Feel the joy of shared laughter, the comfort of deep understanding. Feel the satisfaction of giving and receiving love freely and fully. Let these feelings permeate your being so completely that you carry the energy of love with you wherever you go. If your desire is for a successful career, then in your inner world, feel the pride of achievement. Feel the satisfaction of doing work you love. Feel the respect and admiration of your colleagues. Embody these feelings so thoroughly that you begin to carry yourself with the confidence and poise of someone who is already successful. The key here is feeling. Your feelings are the secret to your power. They are the language of the subconscious mind, the fuel that powers your manifestations. When you can genuinely feel as though your desire is fulfilled, when you can maintain that feeling regardless of your outer circumstances, you have mastered the art of creation. Now I can hear some of you thinking, but Wayne, this sounds like self-deception. Aren't we just fooling ourselves? And to that I say emphatically, no, you are not deceiving yourself. You are leaning yourself with a higher truth, a deeper reality. You see, my dear friends, time is an illusion. The future you desire already exists in the infinite now of imagination. When you enter into the silence and live from the end, you are not creating something new. You are simply choosing to experience a reality that already exists. Think of it like this. I imagine you are in a dark room and there's a light switch on the wall. The electricity, the potential for light is already there. It exists whether the switch is on or off. When you flip the switch, you're not creating the light. You're simply choosing to experience it. In the same way, when you live from the end in your imagination, you're not creating your desire. You're choosing to experience it, to align yourself with it. This is why being silent is so crucial. When you constantly talk about what you want, when you focus on the lack of it in your life, you can essentially keep the light switch off. You're choosing to experience the reality of not having. But when you go into the silence, when you live from the end and feel the joy of your desire fulfilled, you're flipping that switch. You're choosing to experience the reality where your desire is already manifest. Now, I want to address something that many of you may be struggling with. You might be thinking, but Wayne, I've tried this. I've imagined my desire fulfilled. I've tried to feel it real, but nothing has changed. What am I doing wrong? My dear friends, if this is you, I want you to know that you're not alone. Many people struggle with this at first. The key lies in persistence and in truly understanding what it means to live from the fan. You see, living from the end is not about visualizing your desire for a few minutes each day and then returning to your old patterns of thinking and being. It's about a fundamental shift in your self-concept. It's about becoming in your imagination and in your feeling the person who already has what you desire. This takes practice and dedication. It takes a willingness to challenge your old beliefs and patterns of thinking. But most of all, it takes faith. Faith not in some external power, but in the creative power of your own imagination. Remember, your imagination is not separate from reality. It is the very substance of reality. The world you see around you was once only imagined. Every invention, every work of art, every human achievement began as a seed in someone's imagination. Your desires are no different. They are the seeds of your future reality, waiting to be planted in the fertile soil of your imagination and nurtured in the silence of your being. So if you've been struggling, I urge you not to give up. Return to the silence. Go deeper into the feeling of your desire fulfilled. Make it more real, more vivid, more alive within you. And most importantly, persist. Persist in the face of every contrary appearance in your outer world. For it is your persistence, your unwavering faith in the reality of your Amidat that will ultimately bring it into manifestation. Now let's talk about another crucial aspect of this process. Detachment. When I say be silent anything that you wish will happen, the silence I'm referring to also includes a detachment from the how and when of your manifestation. You see, many people make the mistake of trying to control every aspect of their manifestation. They imagine their desire fulfilled, but then they start worrying about how it will come about. They start trying to manipulate people and circumstances to bring about their desire. But this is a form of doubt. It's a lack of faith in the power of your imaginal act. True silence, true faith means letting go of the need to control. It means trusting that the same intelligence that keeps your heart beating, that grows your hair and nails, that maintains the perfect balance of life on this planet, is more than capable of bringing your desire into manifestation in the perfect way and at the perfect time. This detachment is not indifference. It's not about not caring whether your desire manifests or not. Rather, it's about being so certain of its manifestation that you no longer feel the need to manipulate or control. It's about resting in the absolute knowing that what you have experienced in your imagination is more real than anything in your outer world, and that your outer world must by law conform to this inner reality. Let me give you an example to illustrate this point. Imagine you've ordered a package online. Once you've placed the order, do you sit by your mailbox day and night worrying about whether the package will arrive? Do you call the shipping company every hour to check on its status? Of course not. You trust that the package is on its way. You go about your life knowing that it will arrive at the perfect time. This is the kind of detachment I'm talking about. Once you place your order with the universe by living from the end in your imagination, let it adjourn. Trust that it's on its way. Go about your life from the state of consciousness of someone who already has what they desire. Now, this doesn't mean you become passive. You still take inspired action when it presents itself. But this action comes from a place of being, not from a place of lack or need. It's the natural expression of the new you. The you that is living from the end. Let's delve deeper into this concept of inspired action. When you're truly living from the end, when you fully embody the state of consciousness of having your desire fulfilled, you'll find that opportunities and inspirations naturally come to you. These are not actions you force or plan. They arise spontaneously from your new state of being. For instance, if you're living from the end of being financially abundant, you might suddenly feel inspired to start a new business venture. If you're living from the end of being in a loving relationship, you might feel moved to join a new social group where you'll meet like-minded people. These inspirations are your new state of consciousness expressing itself in your outer world. The key is to follow these inspirations without attachment to the outcome. You're not taking these actions to make your desire happen. You're taking them because they're the natural expression of who you now are in your imagination. This brings us to another important point, the role of action in this process. Some people misunderstand the principle of living from the end and think it means they should do nothing in their outer world. They believe that if they just imagine enough, Their desire will magically appear without any effort on their part. But this is not what living from the end means. Living from the end doesn't negate action, it informs action. When you're truly living from the end, your actions naturally align with your desired state. You begin to act like the person who already has what you desire. If you're living from the end of being a successful author, for example, if you sit around waiting for a book to magically appear with your name, you write, you edit, you submit your work to publishers, but you do all of this from the state of consciousness of already being a successful author. You're not writing to become an author. You're writing because you are an author. This subtle shift in consciousness makes all the difference. It takes the struggle out of your actions. It aligns you with opportunities that support your new state of being. It allows you to act with confidence and certainty, knowing that you're not working towards your desire, but from your desire already fulfilled. Now I want to address something that many of you may be grappling with. You might be thinking, but Wayne, what about the evidence of my senses? How can I live from the end when everything in my outer world tells me that my desire is not yet fulfilled? This is, my dear friends, is where faith comes in. Not blind faith, not wishful thinking, not faith, but faith based on understanding. Understanding that your senses show you the world that was, not the world that is becoming. Understanding that your imagination is the true substance of reality, and that what you see in your outer world is simply the shadow cast by your inner states. Your senses are wonderful servants, but they make poor masters. They can only show you what has already manifested, but your imagination shows you what can be, what is in the process of becoming. When you live from the end, when you experience your desire as fulfilled in your imagination, you are seeing with the eye of faith. You are perceiving a reality that your physical senses cannot yet detect, but which is nonetheless real and in the process of manifesting. This is why silence is so crucial. In the silence of your imagination, you are free from the limitations imposed by your senses. You are free to experience your desire as fulfilled, regardless of what your outer world is showing you. But make no mistake, this is not about denying your current reality or pretending that things are different than they are. It's about understanding that your current reality is the result of past thoughts and beliefs, and that by changing your inner state, you set in motion the forces that will change your outer world. Think of it like this: your outer world is like a mirror, reflecting back to you your innermost thoughts and beliefs. When you change what's being reflected, your inner state, the reflection must change. It has no choice. This is law. So when your senses tell you that your desire is not yet fulfilled, don't argue with them. Don't try to convince yourself that what you're seeing isn't real. Instead, thank your senses for showing you what has been, and then return to the silence of your imagination where you can experience what will be. This is the true meaning of faith. It's not about believing despite evidence. To the contrary. It's about knowing that the evidence of your imagination is more real, more substantial than anything your physical senses can show you. Now let's talk about something that many of you may be struggling with, the concept of time in relation to your manifestations. When I say be silent to anything that you wish will happen, many of you might be wondering, but when will it happen? How long do I have to wait? My dear friends, these questions, while natural, come from a misunderstanding of the nature of time and manifestation. You see, in the realm of imagination, there is no time. There is only the eternal now. When you truly live from the end, when you fully embody the state of your desire fulfilled, you're not waiting for anything to happen. It has already happened in the only place it ever could happen, in your consciousness. The appearance of your desire in your outer world is not the manifestation. It's merely the shadow, the outer reflection of what has already occurred within you. The true manifestation, The real creation happens the moment you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled and believe in its reality. From this perspective, there is no waiting. There is only being the person who already has what you desire, living from that state of consciousness, allowing your outer world to catch up with your inner knowing. This is why patience is so important in this process. Not the kind of patience that comes from gritting your teeth and enduring until something happens, but the patience that comes from absolute knowing, the kind of patience you have when you've planted a seed. You don't stand over it, demanding that it grow faster. You trust in the natural process of growth, knowing that in its own perfect timing, the seed will sprout and grow into a magnificent plant. Your desires are like that seed. Once planted in the fertile soil of your imagination and nurtured with the feeling of their fulfillment, they will manifest in your outer world in their own perfect timing. Your job is not to make them grow faster, but to maintain the state of consciousness of already having them. This brings us to another important point, the concept of revision. Sometimes, despite our best efforts to live from the end, we find ourselves slipping back into old patterns of thinking and being. We might have moments of doubt, or we might react to our current circumstances in ways that contradict our desired state. When this happens, it's crucial not to bait yourself or to see it as a failure. Instead, use the power of revision. At the end of each day, review the events of your day in your imagination. If there were any moments where you reacted from a state of lack or limitation, revise them. See yourself responding from the state of your wish fulfilled. Feel how you would have felt, thought how you would have thought, if your desire was already manifest. This practice of revision serves two purposes. First, it reinforces your desired state of consciousness, helping you to more consistently live from the ending. Second, it literally rewrites your subconscious memories. Remember, your subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you actually experience. Revising your day in your imagination, you're literally changing your past, and in doing so, changing the trajectory of future. Now, I want to address something that many of you may be concerned about. You might be thinking, but Wayne, isn't this selfish? Shouldn't I be focusing on helping others rather than manifesting my own desires? My dear friends, this is a common misconception, but it couldn't be further from the truth. You see, when you live from the end, when you embody the state of consciousness of your desire fulfilled, you become more, not less. You expand your capacity to give, to love, to serve. Think about it. If your desire is for financial abundance and you successfully manifest that abundance, aren't you in a better position to help others? If your desire is for radiant health and you manifest that health, aren't you better able to care for those around you? If your desire is for a fulfilling relationship and you manifest that relationship, don't you have more love to share with the world? You see, manifesting your desires is not about greed or selfishness. It's about becoming the fullest, most expanded version of yourself. It's about aligning yourself with the abundance of the universe so that you can be a channel for that abundance to flow to others. Moreover, when you master this principle of living from the end, you gain the ability to help others in profound ways. You can teach them this principle, showing them how to transform their own lives. You become a living example of what's possible when one aligns themselves with the creative power of their imagination. So never feel guilty about focusing on your desires. Your desires are not random. They are the universe speaking to you, showing you the direction of your growth and expansion. By fulfilling your desires, you are fulfilling your purpose, becoming more of who you truly are. And in doing so, you naturally uplift those around you. Now, as we near the end of our time together, I want to leave you with a challenge. For the next 30 days, I want you to commit to living from the end of your most cherished desire. Choose one desire, the one that resonates most deeply with you, and for the next 30 days, live as though it were already fulfilled. Each night before you go to sleep, enter into the silence of your imagination. See yourself in the scenario of your desire fulfilled. Feel the feelings you would feel if your desire were already manifest. Experience it with all your senses. Make it as real and as vivid as you possibly can. Then carry that feeling with you throughout your day. No matter what your outer circumstances show you, maintain the inner knowing that your desire is already yours. Be silent about it. Don't speak of it as something you want or need. Live from the state of already having it. If you find yourself slipping back into old patterns of thinking or being, don't berate yourself. Simply revise those moments in your imagination. See yourself responding from the state of a wish fulfilled. At the end of these 30 days, you will be amazed at the changes that have occurred. Not just in your outer world, but in your inner world as well. You will have developed a new habit of consciousness, a new way of being in the world. Remember, my dear friends, you are not bound by your past or by your current circumstances. You are bound only by your imagination and your willingness to live from the state of your wish fulfilled. The power to change your life, to manifest your heart's desires, lies within you. It always has and it always will.
You may wonder, what does it mean to do it alone? Is it a call to isolation? A rejection of the world around us? No, my beloved, it is quite the opposite. To do it alone is to recognize the divinity within you, to understand that you are the operant power in your world, and that all creation begins in the sanctum of your own mind. Consider for a moment the great masters throughout history. Did they not retreat into solitude to commune with the infinite? Did not prophets venture into the wilderness to receive their revelations? Even the Christ, in his moments of greatest significance, withdrew from the crowds to pray alone. This, my friends, is the essence of doing it alone, not in physical isolation, but in the realization that you and you alone are the author of your life story. Let us delve deeper into this concept. When I say do it alone, I speak of the inner work, the labor of consciousness that no one else can perform for you. It is the intimate dance between your imagination and the infinite possibilities that lie dormant within you. This dance, this sacred communion, can only be experienced in the privacy of your own being. Think of it this way. When you enter a dream at night, do you bring others with you? No, you enter that realm alone, and in that state, you are the creator, the director, and the star of your nocturnal adventures. Your waking life, I assure you, is no different. You are dreaming it into existence with every thought, every assumption, every inner conversation. But some of you might protest, surely we need others in our lives. Surely we cannot exist in isolation. And to this I say, of course, the outer world, the people in your life, they are all vital and beautiful parts of your experience. But understand this. They are not the cause of your experience, they are the effect. They are the reflections of your inner state, the manifestations of your consciousness. When you truly grasp this, when you internalize the knowledge that you are the operant power, you will see that all the help you need, all the love you seek, all the success you desire, it all begins within you. You do not need to manipulate others or beg the world for favors. You need only to adjust your inner state to align your consciousness with your desires, and the outer world will rearrange itself to match your vision. This, my dear friends, is the true meaning of doing it alone. It is the recognition that you are not a mere fragment in a vast, uncaring universe, but that you are the universe itself focused into this particular point of time and space. You are God in distribution, experiencing yourself through the vessel of your human form. Now, let us explore how this principle applies to your daily life. Imagine you desire a new job, a position that fills you with excitement and purpose. The common approach would be to scour job listings, to network feverishly, to plead your case to potential employers. And while these outer actions may have their place, they are not the source of your success. Instead, I urge you to do it alone. Retreat into the theater of your mind. There in that sacred space, see yourself already occupying that position. Feel the satisfaction of doing work that inspires you. Hear the congratulations of your colleagues. Experience the pride of your loved ones. Make this inner experience so vivid, so real, that when you open your eyes, you will be surprised to find yourself still in your current circumstances. This, my friends, is the art of assumption, when you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, when you live from the end as if it were already a reality. You set in motion forces beyond your conscious understanding. The entire universe conspires to bring about the conditions that match your inner state. But remember, this is not mere positive thinking or idle daydreaming. This is a fundamental shift in your concept of self. You are not trying to change things, you are changing the thinker. You are revising your own identity to match your desire. Let me share with you a profound truth. The outer world is dead. Yes, you heard me correctly. The world you perceive with your senses is but a shadow, a reflection of past thoughts and assumptions. It has no power to create, no ability to cause. It can only reflect what you hold in your consciousness. This may seem a stark statement, perhaps even a disturbing one, but I assure you it is the key to your freedom. For if the outer world is dead, if it has no power to create or cause, then you are liberated from its seeming constraints. You are free to create anew, to assume a new state of consciousness, and to watch as the outer world reshapes itself to match your inner vision. This is why I implore you to do it alone. For in the solitude of your consciousness, in the privacy of your imagination, you hold the power to reshape your entire existence. No one else can do this for you. No external force can grant you this power. It is your birthright, your inherent nature as a creative being. Consider the great inventors and innovators throughout history. Did they not first conceive their creations in the solitude of their minds? Did not every great work of art, every scientific breakthrough, every technological marvel first exist as a seed in someone's imagination? These individuals understood, perhaps intuitively, the power of doing it alone. But let us be clear, doing it alone does not mean you must physically isolate yourself from others. It does not mean you should reject help or collaboration when it presents itself. Rather, it means that you recognize that the primary creative act occurs within you. The outer actions, the physical steps you take, are simply the outward expression of an inner conviction. Think of it this way. When you plant a seed in the ground, do you dig it up every day to check its progress? Do you attempt to force the sprout to emerge, to manipulate the leaves into unfurling? Of course not. You plant the seed, you provide the proper conditions, and then you allow the innate intelligence in that seed to do its work. Your desires, your goals, your aspirations, these are seeds you plant in the fertile soil of your consciousness. Your task is not to force them to manifestation through sheer will or endless action. Your task is to plant them properly, to nurture them with your assumption of their fulfillment, and then to allow them to grow and manifest in their own divine timing. This is the art of doing it alone. It is the recognition that you are the gardener of your own mind, the cultivator of our own reality. No one else can plant these seeds for you. No one else can assume the ceiling of their fulfillment on your behalf. This is your sacred duty, your divine right, and your ultimate power. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Wayne, what about the challenges I face? What about the obstacles in my path to this? I say these challenges, these obstacles, they are not what you think they are. They are not external forces conspiring against you. They are not proof of your limitations or your unworthiness. No, my dear friends, these challenges are invitations. They are calls to go deeper into yourself, to strengthen your conviction, to purify assumption. Every obstacle you face is an opportunity to do it alone, to retreat into the workroom of your imagination, and to revise your concept of self. Remember, the outer world can only reflect what you hold in consciousness. If you accept the obstacle as real, if you allow it to shake your conviction, then you give it power over you. But if you recognize it for what it truly is, a shadow, a reflection of past thoughts, then you can dissolve it in the light of your new assumption. This is why I often speak of revision. When you face a challenge or encounter an undesirable circumstance, do not accept it as final. Do not allow it to define your reality. Instead, in the privacy of your imagination, revise the event. See it unfolding as you would have preferred. Feel the relief, the joy, the satisfaction of this revised version. You might ask, but Wayne, how can I revise something that has already happened? To this, I say time is an illusion. The past, present, and future exist simultaneously in the eternal now of your consciousness. When you revise an event in your imagination, you are not changing the past in a linear sense. You are selecting a different version of events from the infinite possibilities that exist in the dimension of consciousness. This is the power of doing it alone. In the solitude of your mind, you can revise any event, reshape any circumstance, and redefine any aspect of your life. The outer world, bound as it is to reflect your inner state, must then rearrange itself to match your new assumption. But let us delve even deeper into this concept of doing it alone. It is not merely about manifesting specific desires or revising unwanted events. It is about a fundamental shift in your understanding of what you are. You see, my beloved, when I speak of doing it alone, I am pointing you towards the realization of your true identity. You are not the limited mortal creature you appear to be. You are not defined by your circumstances, your past, or the opinions of others. You are, in truth, the very essence of creation itself, temporarily focused into this particular point of view. This is why no one else can do it for you. This is why all the self-help books, all the motivational seminars, all the well-meaning advice from friends and family are potentially useful, can never be the source of your transformation. They can point the way, they can offer techniques and insights, but the actual work, the sacred labor of consciousness, can only be done by you alone in the depths of your being. Consider for a moment the story of Moses receiving the 10 Commandments. He did not bring the multitudes with him to the top of Mount Sinai. He ascended alone into the cloud of unknowing to commune with the divine. This story, like all great spiritual allegories, is not about an external historical event. It is about the inner journey that each of us must undertake. You, my dear friend, are Moses. The mountain is your own consciousness. The cloud is the mystery of your own being. And the commandments, they are the laws of your own nature, the principles by which you create your reality. But you must ascend alone. You must enter the cloud alone. You must receive the revelation alone. This solitary journey is not a burden, but a privilege. It is the recognition of your divine nature, your innate creative power. When you truly understand this, when you fully embody this truth, you will never again feel alone in the common sense of the word. For you will know that you are one with the source of all creation, that you are the very substance from which all things are formed. Now, let us consider how this principle of doing it alone applies to your relationships with others. Some of you might worry that this teaching promotes selfishness or isolation. Nothing could be further from the truth. When you learn to do it alone, when you recognize your own divine nature, you become capable of truly loving others. You see, most human relationships are based on need, on the belief that we are incomplete without the other. We seek in others what we believe we lack in ourselves. But when you know that you are complete, that you contain within yourself the fullness of being, then your relationships transform. You no longer approach others from a place of lack or need, but from a place of fullness and love. This is the paradox of doing it alone. It enables you to connect more deeply with others. For when you no longer need others to compete you can appreciate them for who they truly are. You can love them freely without conditions or expectations. You can allow them to be themselves without trying to change them to fit your needs. Consider the sun. Does it shine only on those it deems worthy? Does it withhold its light from those it judges undeserving? No, it shines on all equally, giving of itself freely and abundantly. This is how you will relate to others when you master the art of doing it alone. You will be like the sun, radiating love and creativity, not because you need anything in return, but because it is your nature to do so. But to reach this state, you must first do the inner work alone. You must confront your own shadows, face your own fears, and dissolve your own limiting beliefs. This is not always easy. It requires courage, persistence, and faith. But I assure you, my dear friends, the rewards are beyond anything you can imagine. For when you learn to do it alone, you discover that you are never truly alone. You realize that you are one with the creative power of the universe. You understand that all things are possible to you, for you are the very substance from which all things are formed. This is why I often speak of the state of wish fulfilled. When you enter into the feeling of your wish fulfilled, when you live from the end as if your desire were already a reality, you are doing it alone in the true sense. You are not waiting for external circumstances to change. You are not dependent on the actions or approval of others. You are creating from within, shaping your reality through the power of your assumption. But remember, this is not about forcing or struggling. It is not about willpower in the conventional sense. It is about aligning yourself with the natural creative process of the universe. Just as a seed does not strain to become a tree, you do not need to strain to manifest your desires. You need only to assume the right state of consciousness to feel the naturalness of your wish fulfilled, and then to allow the outer world to reshape itself accordingly. This trust in the process is itself a form of doing it alone, for it requires you to release your attachment to external results, to let go of your need to control the how and when of your manifestation. It asks you to have faith in your own creative power, to trust in the wisdom of your own being. Think of a great artist at work. When they stand before a blank canvas, do they doubt their ability to create? Do they worry about where the paint will come from or how the brushes will move? No, they simply begin allowing the creative impulse to flow through them. They trust in their own artistic vision, in their own creative power. You, my dear friend, are the artist of your own life. Your consciousness is the canvas, your imagination, the brush, and your assumptions, the paint. And like the artist, you must trust in your own creative power. You must have faith in your ability to shape your reality. This faith, this trust is the essence of doing it alone. It is the recognition that all the power you need is already within you. It is the understanding that you are not separate from the creative force of the universe, but are that very force itself focused into this particular point of view. Now, let us address a question that may arise in your minds. Some of you might be thinking, but Wayne, if I am doing it alone, if I am the creator of my reality, why do I sometimes experience unwanted circumstances? Why do I face challenges and difficulties? This is a profound question, and it strikes at the heart of our discussion. The answer lies in understanding the nature of consciousness and the process of creation. You see, your outer world is not created by your conscious thoughts alone. It is shaped by the totality of your consciousness, including your deepest beliefs, your habitual thoughts, and even the aspects of yourself that you may not be consciously aware of. When you experience unwanted circumstances, it is not a failure of your creative power. It is simply a reflection of some aspect of your consciousness that you may not have fully recognized or addressed. This is why doing it alone is so crucial. It requires you to delve deep into your own being, to confront and transform the hidden beliefs and assumptions that may be shaping them in reality in ways you don't consciously intend. Consider for a moment the concept of self-talk, the inner conversations you have with yourself throughout the day. These conversations, often occurring below the level of conscious awareness, are powerful creative forces. They are, in essence, the way you do it alone all the time, whether you realize it or not. If your inner conversations are filled with doubt, fear, or limitation, then these states will be reflected in your outer experience. But the wonderful news is that you have the power to change these conversations. You can consciously choose new thoughts, new assumptions, new inner dialogues that align with your desires. This is not about forced positive thinking or denying the reality of your current circumstances. It is about recognizing that your inner world is the true creative realm, and that by changing your inner conversations, you inevitably change your outer world. Let me share with a technique that I have found particularly powerful in this regard. I call it eavesdropping on your future self. Here's how it works. Imagine yourself in the future, having already achieved your desire. Listen carefully to the conversations you would be having in that state. What would you be saying to yourself? What would others be saying to you? Now, bring those conversations into your present. Begin to speak to yourself as if your desire were already fulfilled. Have imaginary conversations with others where they congratulate you on your success. Feel the naturalness of these conversations, the ease with which they flow. This technique is a powerful way of doing it alone. It allows you to align your inner world with the reality you wish to create regardless of your current circumstances. And as you persist in these new inner conversations, you will find your outer world beginning to shift and change to match your whole. But remember, my dear friends, this is not about escaping reality or living in a fantasy world. It is about recognizing the true nature of reality itself. What you perceive as the real world is simply the outpicturing of consciousness. By changing your consciousness, you literally change your world. This is why I often say that there is no such thing as fiction. Every story, every imagined scenario exists as a reality in the dimension of consciousness. When you imagine yourself in a desired state, you are not creating something new. You are tuning into an already existing reality, a version of yourself that already possesses what you desire. Your task then is not to create this reality, but to align yourself with it. This alignment happens within you in the privacy of your own consciousness. It is a solitary act, a sacred communion between you and the infinite possibilities that exist within you. This is the deepest meaning of doing it alone. It is the recognition that you are the operant power in your world, that you are the one who selects and animates the particular version of reality you experience. No one else can do this for you. No external power can grant you this ability. It is your inherent nature, your divine birthright. But let us be clear, doing it alone does not mean you must struggle or strain. It does not mean you must cut yourself off from others or reject help when it is offered. Rather, it means recognizing that the primary creative act occurs within you in the realm of your imagination and assumption. Think of it this way when you go to sleep at night. Do you worry about how your heart will continue to beat, how your lungs will continue to breathe? Of course not. You trust in the innate wisdom of your body to carry out these functions without your conscious control. In the same way, when you plant a seed in your consciousness, through imagination and assumption, you can trust in the innate creative power of your being to bring it to fruition. Your role is to plant the seed, to nurture with your faith and expectancy, and then to allow it to grow and manifest in its own divine timing. This allowing, this trust is itself a form of doing it alone. It requires you to release your attachment to external results, to let go of your need to control every aspect of the manifestation process. It asks you to have faith in your own creative power, to trust in the wisdom of your own being. Now, some of you may be wondering, but Wayne, what about action? Don't we need to take action in the world to achieve our goals? This is an excellent question, and it brings us to a crucial point in our discussion. Action is indeed important, but not in the way most people think. You see, inspired action flows naturally from a changed state of consciousness. When you have truly assumed the feeling of your wish fulfilled, when you are living from the end, the appropriate actions will arise spontaneously. You will find yourself naturally doing the things that you desire, manifestation of your desire. This is very different from the common approach of trying to force results through sheer willpower or endless activity. Such forced action often comes from a place of lack or fear, and it rarely leads to lasting fulfillment. Instead, when you do it alone, when you change your state of consciousness first, your actions become effortless expressions of your new state of being. Consider the example of learning a new skill like playing a musical instrument. At first, your actions may feel forced and unnatural. You have to consciously think about every movement, every note. But as you practice, as you begin to embody the state of being a musician, your actions become more fluid, more natural. You no longer have to think about every little movement. The music simply flows through you. This is how manifestation works when you truly understand the principle of doing it alone. You don't force the outer actions. You change your inner state, and the appropriate actions flow naturally from that state. But there's an even deeper truth here, my dear friends. As you advance in your understanding and application of these principles, you may find that less and less outer action is required. For when you are truly aligned with your desire and consciousness, the entire universe moves to bring about its manifestation. This is what I mean when I say that creation is finished. All possible states, all possible versions of reality already exist in the dimension of consciousness. Your task is not to create these realities, but to select and animate the one you desire through your assumption and feeling. This selection, this animation happens within you. It is a solitary act, a sacred communion between you and the infinite possibilities that exist within you. This is why no one else can do it for you. This is why you must do it alone. But remember, doing it alone does not mean you are separate or isolated from the world around you. Quite the opposite. When you master the art of doing it alone, you realize your oneness with all of creation. You understand the entire universe is yourself pushed out, that every person, every circumstance in your life is a reflection of your own consciousness. This realization is profoundly liberating, for it means that you are not at the mercy of external circumstances. You are not a victim of fate or chance. You are the author of your own story, the creator of your own reality. But with this great power comes great responsibility. For if you are the creator of your reality, then you must take full responsibility for your life experience. You can no longer blame others for your circumstances. You can no longer see yourself as a victim of external forces. This responsibility may seem daunting at first, but I assure you it is the key to your freedom. For when you take full responsibility for your life, you reclaim your power to change it. You recognize that if you created your current circumstances, through your assumptions and beliefs. You can create new circumstances through new assumptions and beliefs. This is the essence of doing it alone. It is the recognition that you are the operant power in your world, that you are the one who selects and animates the particular version of reality you experience. No one else can do this for you. No external power can grant you this ability. It is your inherent nature, your divine birthright. But let us delve even deeper into this concept. When I say do it alone, I am not just referring to the manifestation of specific desires or the achievement of particular goals. I am pointing you towards a fundamental shift in your understanding of who and what you are. You see, my beloved, you are not the limited mortal creature you appear to be. You are not defined by your body, your circumstances, or your personal history. These are but costumes you wear, roles you play in the grand drama of existence. Your true identity is far greater, far more magnificent than you can possibly imagine. You are, in essence, the very consciousness from which all things arise. You are the dreamer of this dream we call life. When you truly grasp this, when you fully embody this truth, the idea of doing it alone takes on a whole new meaning. For you realize that there's no other to rely on, no external source of power or wisdom to appeal to. You are it. You are all there is. This realization can be both exhilarating and terrifying. It means that you are fully responsible for your experience of life. It means that you can no longer blame others or circumstances for your situation. But it also means that you have the power to change anything and everything in your life. Consider for a moment the implications of this truth. If you are the dreamer of your life, then everything and everyone in your experience is a reflection of your own consciousness. The people you interact with, the circumstances you encounter, the very world you perceive, all of it is you pushed out. This is why doing it alone is so crucial. For if everything is a reflection of your consciousness, then the only place where change can truly occur is within you. Our reflection can only change when you change. But here's the beautiful paradox. When you fully embrace the idea of doing it alone, when you take complete responsibility for your life experience, you also realize your profound connection to all of existence. For if you are the dreamer of your life, and if everything in your experience is you pushed out, then you are in a very real sense everything and everyone. This realization dissolves the illusion of separation. It reveals the underlying unity of all things, and from this place of unity, true love and compassion naturally arise. For how can you not love others when you recognize them as aspects of yourself? This is why the great spiritual teachers throughout history have emphasized self-realization. They understood that true transformation, true liberation can only come from within. They knew that each of us must make this journey alone, must discover our true nature for ourselves. But make no mistake, my dear friends, this journey of self-discovery, this process of doing it alone is not always easy. It requires courage, persistence, and faith. It asks you to question everything you thought you knew about yourself and the world. It challenges you to let go of all beliefs and limitations. There may be times when you feel lost or confused. There may be moments when you doubt yourself. And this teaching, this is natural. It is part of the process. But I urge you to persist, for on the other side of this struggle lies a freedom and a joy beyond anything you can currently imagine. Remember, you are not alone in this journey. While you must do the inner work yourself, you are supported by the very universe you are creating. Every challenge you face, every obstacle you encounter is an opportunity for growth and self-discovery. It is your own higher self calling you to awaken to your true nature. As you continue on this path of doing it alone, you will begin to experience life in a completely new way. You will no longer feel at the mercy of external circumstances. You will no longer seek validation or approval from others. You will stand firm in the knowledge of your own divine nature, your own creative power. From this place of inner certainty, you will find that life begins to flow with an ease and grace you never thought possible. Opportunities will seem to arise spontaneously. Desires will manifest with surprising speed and in unexpected ways. You will experience a deep sense of peace and fulfillment, regardless of outer conditions, but perhaps the most beautiful transformation will be in your relationships with others. As you learn to do it alone, as you discover your own completeness, you will no longer approach relationships from a place of need or lack. Instead, you will come from a place of fullness, of love freely given without condition or expectation. You will see others not as separate entities to be manipulated or controlled, but as beloved aspects of yourself, as unique expressions of the same consciousness that you are. This shift in perception will transform all your relationships, bringing a depth of love and understanding you may have thought impossible. And as you move through the world from this state of consciousness, you will naturally inspire others. Without effort or intention, you will serve as a living example of what is possible. Your very being will be a testament to the power of doing it alone, of taking responsibility for one's own consciousness. But remember, my dear friends, this is not about becoming some perfect, flawless being. It is about embracing all aspects of yourself, including your perceived flaws and weaknesses, for these two are part of the magnificent tapestry of your being, part of the unique way in which the infinite expresses itself through you. Doing it alone means loving all of yourself, accepting all of your experiences as part of your journey of self-discovery. It means recognizing that even your mistakes and failures are opportunities for growth and deeper understanding. As you continue to apply these principles, as you persist in the practice of doing it alone, you will find that your entire perception of life begins to shift. What once seemed solid and fixed will reveal itself to be fluid and responsive to your consciousness. The world will become a living, breathing reflection of your Indian state. You will begin to see that every person, every circumstance, every experience in your life is a gift, a perfectly orchestrated opportunity for you to know yourself more fully, to express your divine nature more completely. Even the challenges and difficulties you face will be recognized as sacred invitations to grow and evolve. This shift in perception, this new way of experiencing life, is the true fruit of doing it alone. It is the realization of your divine nature, the embodiment of your creative power. It is the fulfillment of your purpose as a unique expression of the infinite. But let me be clear, my beloved, the state of consciousness is not some distant goal to be achieved in the future. It is not something you need to strive for or earn. It is your true nature, your natural state of being. It is available to you here and now in this very moment. All that is required is a shift in your assumption, a change in your concept of self. And this shift, this change can only occur within you. It is something you must do alone. So I urge you, my dear friends, embrace this teaching. Take it into your hearts and minds. Test it in the laboratory of your own experience, for it is only through your own direct experience that you will truly understand the power and the beauty of doing it alone. Remember, you are not separate from the creative power of the universe. You are that very power focused into this particular point of view. You are the operant power in your world, the author of your own story, the creator of your own reality. Embrace this truth, live from this understanding, do it alone, and watch as your world transforms before your very eyes. And now, my beloved, as we draw this discourse to a close, I want you to take a moment to reflect on all that we have discussed. Feel the truth of these words resonating within you. Know that you have within you all the power, You need to shape your life, to create your reality, to fulfill your deepest desires. Go forth from this place with a new understanding of your true nature, a new appreciation of your creative power. Let every thought, every feeling, every action be an expression of this truth, live from the state of your wish fulfilled, knowing that as you do so, you are shaping the very fabric of your reality. Remember, my dear friends, you are never truly alone, for you are one with the source of all creation, one with the infinite possibility that exists within consciousness. In doing it alone, you align yourself with this infinite power, this boundless creativity. So step boldly into your divine inheritance, claim your rightful place as a conscious creator, as a living expression of the infinite. Do it alone, and in doing so, discover your inseparable oneness with all that is. May your journey be filled with joy, with wonder, and with the deep satisfaction that comes from living in alignment with your true nature. May you always remember the power that lies within you, the divine creativity that expresses itself through you. And above all, may you never forget that you are loved, you are supported, and you are infinitely powerful, for you are God in distribution, experiencing itself through the unique and beautiful expression that is you. Go now and do it alone. Create the life you desire. Be the person you wish to be, for in truth, you already are that person. You need only to recognize and embody this truth. Thank you, my beloved, for your attention, for your openness, and for your willingness to explore these profound truths. May your life be a testament to the power of doing it alone, a shining example of what is possible when we fully embrace our divine nature. And with that, I bid you farewell, knowing that we are never truly separate, for we are all one in the grand tapestry of consciousness. Until we meet again in this form or another, remember you are the operant power. You are the creator, you are divine. Now go forth and do it alone.